So today's Facebook Live, I'm just going to wait for a few minutes and see if anybody else can manage to join us live. I know it's not always possible. But today's Facebook Live, we're going to be looking at sitting and its relation to back pain, because over 80% of back pain cases, some statistics say higher, are related to kind of poor movement patterns and poor habits, etc., and the way we sit and stand. And one of the biggest causes of that is actually sitting. So hi John, you landscape on the first, oh yes, I was landscape on the first live, you're absolutely right John, but my phone kind of went off and told me I had to turn it portrait, so I'm not sure. We'll try and work with it for this one, and then if need be I can always change it and figure out what went wrong for the next one, because as soon as I turn my phone landscape John, my screen goes blank and it says my Facebook Live isn't working. So is it okay for you guys if I'm in this kind of portrait or not? Does it not work? Just drop me a line and let me know whether kind of my head is like that or something else strange. Just drop me a line and let me know whether it's fine and whether we're looking fairly straight. I know the lighting's a little bit odd, so I look a bit like a Simpson at the minute, quite yellow, but I can live with that if you can. So hi Anita, hi John, hi Nicola. Okay, so I was just talking briefly about back pain and about sitting. Oh, it's frozen. Yeah, we're okay. So John, you're frozen, but Nicola's okay. John, just give me a thumbs up if it comes back on and let me know that you're firing again, because it says it's still live here, so I'm going to carry on and hopefully we haven't got any issues. This is the wonder of live, isn't it? So yeah, we're talking about back pain and sitting. And sitting is one of the biggest culprits for back pain. One, because you're sedentary and so the muscles aren't getting used. And we all know, or hopefully we all know, that a lack of movement is associated with back pain. Oh, thanks Nicola, it's fine for you. Excellent. So the less you move, the more sedentary you are, then the more likely you are to be in pain. Your joints kind of get a little bit stiffer, the muscles get weaker, etc., etc. So that's one of the issues with sitting, but one of the other issues, the main issues, is that the load through your spine when you sit increases by 300%. Now, I didn't know this until a few days ago. I knew it increased, but not by 300%. So that's a huge increase on the discs. I'm just going to show you what that looks like. So this is like a little mini model of the spine. So these are the vertebrae in the back, and these are the little kind of knobbly bits that you can feel if you press on your own spine. Now, if you sit particularly in a slouched position, and we're going to learn how to kind of correct that later, so I'm going to teach you three hacks. If you sit in a slouched position, this is the front of your body, then this happens. It kind of squishes the disc area here. Can you see how it's pinching the front of the disc here and it's making this side go wider? And if you do that for prolonged periods of time, these muscles here at the back of your body get weaker. Obviously the tummy muscles as well get lax, but this is what happens. Can you see that disc? Did you see it pop out? Bulges and presses on the nerve, which is this kind of yellowy bit just here. So I'm just going to show you from that angle. So that's what happens, because it's a little bit like a jam donut. There's a kind of firmer bit around the outside of the disc, and there's a gel-like substance in the centre. And if you keep squashing and turning and slouching on those discs, they are much more prone to come out. And I know, Anita, you particularly suffer from that. I know you had a few disc issues, and it is excruciating. Trust me, it's something that you want to avoid at all costs. So we're going to have a look at how we can sit better and how we can prevent those discs from bulging out like that. So there are other issues as well with sitting for long periods of time, and that is your chance of diabetes goes up massively, your chance of having a stroke, of high blood pressure, depression, and many other illnesses and conditions come hand in hand with prolonged sitting. Now, we do have to sit. Oh, it also has been proven to shorten your lifespan. I'm sure I read somewhere by kind of 10 to 15 years if you regularly sit for more than 4 hours at a time. Now, a lot of us have to sit, our job might be at a desk, or it might be as a sales rep, so we may be in the car for long periods of time. So you might think, well, I have to sit, there's not much I can do about that. What can I do to alleviate the symptoms? So we've, if you've just joined us, we've talked about all those medical issues and conditions, etc., but also shortening the lifespan and potentially bulging those discs from the spine. So the 3 hacks we're going to talk about in just a second, but I want you to think about when you sit. So it's not just at work, at the desk, it's in the car, and it's on the sofa when you're relaxing at home. And many of us don't really kind of think about how we're sitting. We just kind of slouch down and that's it. We relax, particularly on the sofa at night. So these tips are for whenever you're sitting, whether it be, like I said, in the car or at the desk. And the first one is very, very simple. So I'm going to head over here to this chair and hope that you can see me. That's great. It's just taking a towel or a small cushion or a lumbar support and placing it here in the small of your back. So not down there, because that's going to make you slouch. You place it just here in the small of your back. And what that does is it helps you maintain the natural curve here in the bottom of your back. Because what we want to avoid is slouching down like this or like this over the computer. Because as you can see, imagine that little disc model that I showed you a second ago that showed the bulging disc. As you can see, if I do this and collapse, I'm squashing the area of the front of that jam donut and I'm squeezing the jam out of the back, which is going to end up pinching a nerve. And like I said, if it goes, it's just horrendous. I've had it and lots of my clients have it. So first hack, really simple. Have a lumbar support or a cushion or a rolled up towel and place it behind you. You can do that in the car as well. If you're lucky enough to have an office chair that has a lumbar support, make sure that it is in the right place and that it's actually sitting you in the correct position. Now, you might say, well, how do I know whether I'm in the right position? So just try this with me now, if you can. So if you're sat, I want you to just bring your attention to your sit bones and just rock the pelvis backwards and forwards. So the pelvis is the kind of hip area. So I want you to rock forwards over the sit bones and come off them. That's too much of an arch. And then rock backwards, okay? And this is the more damaging position for most of us. And then I want you to try and find, if you can, the central point where you're balanced right on top of those sit bones. Let me just see. Just excellent. Good, Nicola, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. So you want to sit right on top of the sit bones. That's when you're in your optimal position for support. But you may think, oh, crikey, I'm trying to do this assignment. I've got a million emails to send. The last thing on my mind is going to be balancing on those 2 sit bones. So the second hack is to help you with that. And what it is, when it was actually somebody who taught me meditation that taught me this, and I thought that is brilliant, because many of us sit down on the chair and we're working, and then over time we sit back here and slouch down. But if you go to the chair and you put your bottom right at the very back of the chair, you can't slouch. There's nowhere to go. You have to sit upright. Now, obviously, that means if you're driving, the seat might have to be a little bit closer to the steering wheel, and nobody wants to look like driving Miss Daisy, where you've got hold of the steering wheel and you're kind of resting your chin on it. But it's just getting that balance right, where you sit right to the very back of the seat, maybe adjust the car seat or the chair at the office and bring yourself as close as possible so that your sit bones and your kind of bottom area don't slide down away from the back of the chair. So that's hack number 2. And hack number 3 is, again, it's just really simple. These are not exercises as such. These are just lifestyle tweaks and changes that, if you don't have a bad back, should I say, will really help you not have one in the future. Sorry, another comment. Excellent. Hi, Darren. So if you don't have a bad back, these will help you in the future prevent back pain. But if you do have a bad back, they're just going to help you alleviate it so much. So the third one is literally getting up out of your chair. Now, the recommendation is that you should get up and move around at least every half an hour. Even if that's just for 5 minutes, to go and make a brew, to go and do some photocopying, whatever it may be that you need to do. But get up out of the chair and get moving. Now, some particular movements that are beneficial I'll just move that, are, because you've been slouched in this position, are taking your back into extension. So placing the hands here at the back of the hips and just pushing the hips forward and stretching the back, okay, like that. Also the exercise from Thursday's Facebook Live, was it, where we took the elbows back and squeezed them. That's another really good one. But the other movements, part of the problem with, let me just go off track here for a second. Part of the issue with sitting for too long is that your glutes, your bottom muscles, kind of switch off and get really lazy. And they are a vital component in having a strong back, because you have an X of muscles at the back of your body. There's one at the front as well, but we'll just stick to the back for now. And it's a sling of muscles that hold you up and that are really important. The bottom part of that X down here, I feel like I'm on the X Factor. The bottom part of the X down here are your glutes. So if they're weak, the structure that's meant to support your back just isn't there. It's only half an X, so it just can't do it. And what you tend to get is a band here at the kind of lower part of your back going really tight and seizing up and feeling quite vulnerable, because the glutes, the bum muscles, are just not doing what they should do. So another exercise when you stand up, like I said, just walking around is good enough. So we've got the pushing the hips forward. This always reminds me of, is it Rigby? He always used to stand like this in the old TV programme. You've got this one here where you squeeze the elbows and the shoulder blade. Can you see how they're all taking me into a bit of a back bend? But also strengthen the glutes. So going into a squat where you take the arms forward and the bottom back behind you and then coming up, because that will help you strengthen the bottom muscles. So we're looking at strengthening the bum, keeping right up on top of those sit bones, so not behind them, not in front of them. We want to be right on top. We're going to use a rolled up towel or a lumbar support when we're sitting, and we're going to remember to sit right at the very back of the chair before we start anything. Then we're much less likely to kind of slide down it and cause, for those of you that have just joined, this is like a little mini spine model, and if you slouch in the chair, let me try and get it to, that happens. So saying it's a bit like a jam donut where you squeeze, this is the disc, these are the vertebrae, where you squeeze the jam donut and you get a bulging disc that impinges onto the nerve. So those are, like I said, just 3 really simple care tips for helping you prevent a bad back, and if you have a bad back, for helping you get on top of things and rebalance them. Now, the only situation that you wouldn't do those back extension exercises is if you have a condition called spinal stenosis, or if you have spondylolisthesis. If you have those, you'll know about them because the doctor will have said. Then if you have either of those 2 things, you mustn't do the back bending. You would instead just really focus on strengthening the glutes. So the squat exercise we did, you would do that one. And you would also perhaps do exercises, let me see if you can see, where you lift the leg up in the air behind you, and that would strengthen your bottom as well. So that's only for people with those 2 conditions, because it's dangerous for your back if you go into extension. You don't want to do that. So I think that's all. Does anybody have any questions whilst you're on about back pains? Anything that's ever kind of confused you, or you've thought, well, I don't know that I should be doing this or that, or you know, so just whilst I'm on here for the next couple of minutes, just fire some questions across if you have any, because that's the whole point of live. It's not just me kind of having verbal diarrhea at the camera, which, as you can see, is becoming more and more natural. So let me just briefly tell you about, with today's Monday, gosh, my head is full at the minute. I'm actually moving the physical Pilates studio that I have this week, so there's 1,000,001 things running through my mind at the minute. But tomorrow's Facebook Live, because I'm going to be doing these Monday, Tuesday and Thursday, is about posture and standing. Now you might think, well, I stand how I stand, you know, there's not a great deal I can do about that. But there are 4 main postural types, and each of them has, oh, hi Carol, each of them has their own problems and issues, if you like, that cause back pain in certain parts of your spine. So if you want to find out which postural type you are and how you can alleviate your particular back pain, then join me tomorrow at 1 o'clock for the session we're going to do, the Facebook Live on actual standing and how and why the way you stand causes back pain. And again, some really simple tips to help you kind of reverse the signs, if you like, reverse the negative aspects of it, because a lot of what I'm kind of going to be going through in the next few weeks isn't, you have to get off your backside and run a marathon or do 100 sit-ups a day. These are really simple lifestyle changes and tweaks that you can make to start protecting and looking after your back, because we have one spine and it's got to last us our entire life. And trust me, as soon as you start to get backache and it starts to interfere with your life and the things that you have to do, and it's on your mind the whole time, you'll really wish you'd done these little kind of care tips. Now, as we're going through these Facebook Lives as well, we will have some exercises. So I will say, these are the 3 very best exercises I recommend for a tight low back, or these are the 3 worst exercises that you shouldn't do under any circumstances if you have a bad back, etc. So we will be doing exercises as well, but there'll be a lot of kind of self-care, how to sleep, how to sit, how to stand, all things like that. And we might even, I think we're going to do one on nutrition as well, because nutrition, I have this fantastic nutritionist that I've teamed up with called Nicola, who I think she actually might be on still, yeah. And she knows so much about kind of plant-based nutrition and nutrition in general, because if you eat badly and you are overweight or you're just a bit sluggish, then there's no way your back pain is going to go away fully. It's about having a healthy lifestyle and just tweaking some little things. So no questions, I don't think, that I can see, but feel free, we're going to finish the Facebook Live, and if you think of something, by all means, just send me an email or drop a comment in below. And if you want to recap on what we've discussed today, all the little hints and tips, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put these Facebook Lives onto the vlog section, onto the blogging section of my website, which is www.mypilatestrainer.co.uk, and it's / I think it's blog, or it may be vlog with a V, so video log, but just try mypilatestrainer.co.uk / blog or vlog, and I'll put these on later, the Facebook Lives, and you can download them and have access to them that way. And I can also send you a little worksheet. After we did the upper back pain one on Thursday, a couple of you requested just a little kind of written check sheet, a worksheet, so that it was a visual reminder of what we talked about. So I hope that made sense. Back pain, sitting, basically the biggest cause, hand down, of back pain is sitting, and sitting badly. So just to recap, number 1, we're going to put a rolled up towel or a lumbar support here in the base of your spine, so you maintain that natural curve. Number 2, you're going to sit right to the very back of your chair so that you can kind of avoid slouching, sofa, chair, car, etc. And number 3 is get up. I'd forgotten that, I had a mind blank. Number 3 is get up as often as possible, so at least every half an hour if you can. Just, set a little reminder on the computer or your phone, and you just have to get up for a couple of minutes. And what I didn't say earlier is that if you do that, you can completely reverse all of those things that I was talking about earlier. The high blood pressure, the cholesterol, the diabetes. Now, please don't misinterpret me. I'm not suggesting that if you get up every half an hour and you're a diabetic, then your diabetes will disappear. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying you can prevent the onset of diabetes by getting up regularly and moving around often, obviously with a good nutrition plan as well. Obviously, if you're going to sit there eating pizzas and cake and biscuits and fizzy pop, then the chances are you're going to be a little bit more prone to diabetes too. But I'm waffling now. So basically the third point was get up, move around quite often, back extension exercises, lots of lunges and squats, mainly squats to strengthen your glutes. You can lift the legs behind you in the air, that will also strengthen your bottom, because we're going to concentrate on the X of muscles at the back of your body. The lower part of the X, I'm going to try here, is the glutes, the bum. So we need to keep those nice and strong. Okay, and I think that's everything. So I'm going to finish it there. That was today. Tomorrow we're going to look at which postural type you fall into and why that can cause your back pain. So I hope you found this useful. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join me. And if you would, share it amongst as many people as you can think of that may have back pain or might benefit from this. And I will see you tomorrow, possibly portrait rather than landscape on the phone. That won't make any sense to people that joined me halfway through. And I'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.